Well, the big news for 2009 is not the Grizzly 700, as it went through its complete redesign for 2007, but the new Grizzly 550, which is almost an exact clone of the 700, except for the engine, of course. And it's now complete with not only the EFI, but the incredible power steering as well. So, with the introduction of the new 550, Yamaha's left the 700 virtually unchanged for 2009. And, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Climbing on the Grizzly, you're going to find one of the most comfortable seats on an ATV. Now, combine that with an almost perfect height bars and floorboard locations, and you have a great place to spend some time riding. Now, looking forward is a very complete gauge pod that displays a bar-type fuel gauge, a large readout speedometer, an odometer, 2 trip odometers, a clock, an hour meter, four-wheel drive status and diff lock indicator lights, gear position indicator, and warning lights for the EPS operation, coolant, temperature, and engine warning lights. Now, on the right side of the handlebars is the front brake lever and the classic flip-style switch for controlling whether the Grizzly is in two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or four-wheel drive with the front differential locked. This is the system that should be standard on every four-wheel drive ATV. Simply push the red button in to engage four-wheel drive. Now, flip the lever over that button and push the yellow button in to lock in the front differential. Simply push the button in again to open the front diff and then flip the switch back and push the red button in and you're back in two-wheel drive mode. On the left side handlebars is the rear brake lever, along with the slide switch controls for the headlights on position and high and low beams. Also there is the green starter button and the gray override button for full power even with the differential locked. Now, the ignition key and 12-volt power plug are on the right side fender top with the gated shifter on the left side of the tank. The all-new, in 2007, 686cc liquid-cooled engine was designed to keep the mass as centralized as possible and the center of gravity low. Simply put, the engine was designed to be more compact and more upright. Equipped with fuel injection, the engine starts easily in cold weather and runs cleanly at sea level and at 12,000 feet. The continuously variable automatic transmission has an automatic centrifugal clutch that maintains constant belt tension for longer belt life and, more importantly, engine braking to all four wheels. The transmission offers both high and low ranges as well as neutral, reverse, and park position, all selectable using the ratchet-gated shift lever on the left side of the machine. The Grizzly is designed using an inline driveline that eliminates the U-joints and thereby reduces the friction, vibration, and maintenance. And the large 5.3-gallon fuel tank is mounted directly behind the engine and under the seat, also helping the mass centralization and that low center of gravity. The frame, although a fairly conventional tubular design, is designed to keep the heavier items as close to the center of the ATV and as low as possible. The front A-arms are arced to allow the most ground clearance over as wide an area as possible. And the rear arms are mounted forward on the frame with a very swept-back angle that provides not only better travel with less scrub as the tires move, but also allows for a shorter frame, thereby once again helping that centralized mass equation. The preload adjustable shocks are mounted low on the arms, allowing longer shocks for better travel and less fade with hard use. Front travel is 7.1 inches and rear travel is 9.5 inches. The Grizzly is equipped with four-wheel disc brakes. The front operated using the right-hand lever, while the rear brakes can be operated with either the left-hand lever or the right foot pedal. Now, something to remember is that when in four-wheel drive, the use of front or rear brakes will act on all four wheels through the drive system. The Grizzly comes with powder-coated racks front and rear, and the front rack is rated to carry 99 pounds and the rear 187 pounds, and the Grizzly is rated to tow 1,212 pounds. To help offer even greater utility and specialization, the Grizzly's racks can be quickly unbolted and replaced with a wide assortment of racks, boxes, bags, and other accessories. The air filter is located right where you'd expect the gas tank to be. To access the filter, you need to remove the seat and then remove the plastic cover between the seat and the handlebars. That requires the removal of those plastic screw plug thingamajigs before it can be pulled back and out. Now, once that's removed, unclip the top of the box to get to the filter itself. To check the oil requires popping off the lower side cover on the left side of the ATV. The check stick is located in the oil filler tube. The oil filter is located behind the panel in the left front wheel well. Now, it requires the removal of three 10mm bolts to be removed for access. The drain plug for the oil is under the ATV and has an access hole in the skid plate to reach it. Checking the coolant requires the removal of the main piece of plastic on the left side of the Grizzly. While it's a big piece of plastic, it only requires one more 10mm bolt to remove. The radiator cap is located in the removable panel directly in front of the handlebars. Also under that panel is the battery and the electrical fuses. Although you seem to have to remove a plastic panel in order to check anything on the Grizzly, our problem is not so much with having to remove the panels as it is the silly fasteners that the Japanese use to hold so many things in place. In our opinion, they're a poor replacement for an actual threaded bolt. Now, there's also a transmission drain plug located just inside the foot peg on the right side of the Grizzly that can be used to drain any water from the belt system should any get inside due to severe water crossings. And now our findings. The good: power steering makes the new Grizzly feel almost invincible in the rough stuff and absolutely tireless to ride for hours on end, even with big mud and snow tires installed. The handling is predictable and the ATV is comfortable to ride slow or fast. And that mass centralization and lowered center of gravity makes the big Grizzly feel much smaller than it is. The bad: the engine is still not on par with the quiet smoothness of, say, the King Quad or even the Kawasaki V-Twins. The shifter is hard to use in those situations like plowing, or for us filming, where you are constantly trying to move between forward and reverse without hitting park, and remembering to apply enough pressure to the brakes. And speaking of the park position, it's just awkward to use in everyday working, and it's still, to me, no substitute for a good parking brake. So why not have both? And does anyone at Yamaha ever read their own owner's manual? The bottom line: the big Grizzly is just one of the best handling, most comfortable, and easiest to ride ATVs on the market. Now, while it's easy to give much of that credit for all of this to the power steering, the amazing amount of effort that's put into the centralization of mass and the lowering of the center of gravity and the many small details are what really make the Grizzly great, rather than just merely good. And just in case you care, we found the Grizzly's owner's manual to be written in that typical Japanese style of making something far more complicated to read than it is to do. I suggest those guys read through a Polaris owner's manual to see how to make one that's understandable.